What is up, everybody? A football Friday here on the Southside Beat. Jerry, already. Yes, here we go. What is up? My name is Chris Halicke. Corey Crisan out today as he is traveling for Pitt football. Welcome to the Southside Beat, everybody. Thank you for joining me live on YouTube here. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. However you are listening to this, however you are watching this, we really appreciate your support. If you are listening later on, thank you for listening. If you can, try to catch us whenever we go live. We go live every weekday at 3 o'clock Eastern. Usually go, and Kane's right. Says on time today. Busy week schedule. Yep, we're always on time. Always on time. And Barbara's right. It's that time of the day. Touch the dang like. Do it. Touch the like. Subscribe. Everything. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the support, guys. It is a football Friday, so and you can see here in the headline or in the title of the episode, live Q&A. So bring your questions. I would AJ already coming in, man. Gifted 5 memberships. Appreciate it so much, man. I kind of want to do more rapid fire today when it comes to the questions. So try. Robert, appreciate it, man. It's not necessarily just my show. You guys are here too. Corey, obviously traveling. He's going to South Bend, Indiana, for Pitt Notre Dame. Mark, appreciate you hitting the like, man, or smashing the like. Appreciate it. If you guys want to hit me up with some questions, kind of want to do more rapid fire today. Just so I can try to get to as many questions as possible, because sometimes with some of the questions, I end up needing to give a bit longer answers to give you the full answer that you're looking for, and I might miss some questions here and there. So if we want to do some kind of rapid fire, again, this doesn't just have to be football. Of course, it is a football Friday, so absolutely, let's talk some football. Barber, appreciate it, man. Never a bad show. For anybody who maybe might not quite understand that, somebody said yesterday's show sucked, and that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. John asked, "Is Deontay injured?" Well, he's a full participant in practice today, according to what he told DK at practice today. So, I have yet to see the injury report come out, but a full participant in practice, definitely a good sign for sure about him possibly playing. Rick asks, if there's a way to run on that front seven, what is it? Boy, they're good up the middle, they're good on the edge, and they're really good on the second level. That's the reason why they're so good against the run. I might say that probably going on the edges would be the better bet there. Josh Allen is a beast. I don't know. That defensive front is tough. They do need to try to run the football. I'm very adamant about that, but it will be difficult this week for sure. I'd say on the edges and maybe run away from Josh Allen as much as you possibly can. Let's see. Anthony asked, how's JPJ? Well, again, according to what DK put in our Steelers feed, it was not a full participant in practice. Luke Barku taking first team reps. That's not a great sign when it comes to Joey Porter Jr. possibly playing. I don't know. We'll see what the injury report says. Obviously, if it's questionable, then we may not really find out until later. Maybe last minute. Obviously, if we see doubtful or out, that's obviously not good when it comes to that. So, Monongahela Mike says more jet sweeps. Oh no, running to the edge doesn't necessarily mean running jet sweeps. And really, I don't think the Steelers have really run that many jet sweeps this year. I feel like they ran way more last year by this point of the season than they have like this season. So I don't feel like they're running as many jet sweeps. Steelers predominantly run outside zone. That's another way to run to the edges. Run off tackle with outside zone. They did it really well against the Rams in the second half last week, so it can be done. Let's see. Jerry asks, play action or play action? Yeah, I'd love to see more of it for sure. I don't know. Rick says, so Jalen. Well, I mean, again, running to the outside doesn't necessarily mean Jalen. If you're running outside zone, technically, I mean, if you really want to dig into the numbers, Najee's a better zone runner than Jalen is. So running outside zone, again, going off of the numbers, Najee would actually probably run better. And it just depends on what concepts are called, what the Jaguars are doing on defense. It really just depends. Frank asks, is Cam going to be playing this week or more likely next week? I highly doubt he plays this week. He just returned to practice yesterday. Even with a full participation yesterday, even if he was a full participant today, I still don't see him playing this week. Let's see. Kevin says more wide receiver screens, please, or just wide receiver screens, please. I agree. Actually, they're not running nearly enough of them. They need to get Calvin Austin with some blockers in front of him. They need to get Deontay Johnson with some runners in front of him, maybe even George Pickens. I don't necessarily trust George Pickens after the catch as much as I would like a Calvin Austin or Deontay Johnson. But yes, either way, more screens. Can you believe that? Like, fans are actually asking for more wide receiver screens. I remember a time where fans were tired of wide receiver screens. Let's see. Frank asked, why doesn't the league make players wear their mouthpiece? Maybe we would have fewer concussions. I don't know, man. Same reason why hockey doesn't require all hockey players to wear mouthpieces, or, other like little, I don't know. I honestly don't have a good answer for that. I feel like the focus when it comes to concussion prevention is more on the helmets, and the science and the continued evolution of helmets, and also, enforcing rules that limit helmet to helmet contact, or especially any kind of head hunting in the league. That definitely has to be eliminated. Yeah, Joe says if a rookie doesn't practice on Friday, they do not play. It's been Tomlin's policy for forever. Yeah, if Joey Porter Jr. did not practice today, I highly doubt he plays. Even if he's listed as questionable. If he was a limited participant, that's a little different. But if he doesn't play at all, if he didn't practice at all today, I highly doubt he plays. I agree with that. Mark says you're right. Mouthpiece should be mandatory. When I played football, I wore a mouthpiece. Now, I also play hockey as a hobby, and I don't wear a mouthpiece. So, and I don't wear a cage. I wear the visor that just covers the eyes. So, I've been called stupid for doing that sometimes, but it is what it is, man. I'm not smart when it comes to certain things. Oh, man. Let's see. Any more questions? I know we got more questions. Jerry says more Calvin Austin III. I would like to see more. I think the Steelers, their preference right now, agree with it, disagree with it, whatever it is to have Allen Robinson be the primary slot guy. When they've used Calvin Austin, they've mainly used him on the outside. So I think there are some instances where Calvin Austin could be out there whenever either Deontay or George Pickens are lined up in the slot. Then Calvin Austin could be the third receiver. But I think right now Allen Robinson is still ahead of Calvin Austin pretty significantly. It might be another situation that we're seeing with like Broderick Jones and Joey Porter Jr. that just he's got to earn it kind of over time. Remember, this is Calvin Austin's it's really his first season. Like, yes, it's his second season, but because of the injury that happened last year that didn't even let him play a snap in the preseason, much less the regular season, this is really, he is being handled pretty much like a rookie, as he should, because, he's got some good qualities for sure. Got some great traits, but there's some of it's got to be honed in and coached up for sure. Bob says with his speed, I wonder why we don't see Calvin Austin III in the return game. Well, he definitely does return punts, and now with Gunner out, or with Gunner released, I should say, Calvin is not only like listed on the depth chart, he is the guy back on punts. I mean, he even had a scary moment against the Rams. So, yeah, I don't know. But kick returns, I think you're going to see. The running back they picked up from the Falcons. He's the primary kick returner now. Robert said, let's say Levi may be injured. He absolutely is injured. Same thing that's going on with Joey Porter Jr. Was not a full participant today. We'll see what the injury report says. I'm kind of trying to keep track on my phone on, if the injury. Oh, wait, here we go. Live. Injury report. We have 3 injury designations. All 3 questionable. Those players are Joey Porter Jr. is questionable, Levi Wallace is questionable, and James Pierre. All 3 cornerbacks listed as questionable. James Pierre did not practice today. It's his first appearance on the injury report. It's with an ankle injury. Did not practice. I wonder when and how that happened, because usually if they got injured in practice day of, they would be listed as a limited participant in practice. So that's interesting. Both Joey Porter Jr. and Levi Wallace were listed as limited participants in practice. So Joey Porter Jr. full practice on Wednesday because he wasn't on the injury report, and then limited yesterday and today. Same thing with Levi Wallace. Only Levi Wallace did not practice Wednesday. He was on the injury report on Wednesday. So 3 cornerbacks, all listed as questionable: Joey Porter Jr., Levi Wallace, and James Pierre. That is why when somebody asked, who is it? Anthony asked, who will be at cornerback? Luke Barku from the practice squad and newly acquired Darius Rush were taking first-team reps in practice today. That is why those 2 guys were taking first-team reps, because James Pierre pops up with an injury, did not practice, listed as questionable. Joey Porter Jr., limited the past 2 days, listed as questionable. Levi Wallace didn't practice Wednesday, limited Thursday and Friday, listed as questionable. That is why those guys earned first-team reps today, because the Steelers need to be prepared just in case, for whatever reason, Joey Porter Jr. and Levi Wallace can't go. That James Pierre pop-up, kind of concerning for me, especially since it was a DNP out of nowhere. That is pretty curious. So, all right. So there's your injury report for today. That'll obviously have to be added to the feed, once I'm out of the show. So might have to wrap up right on time here today, so I can get that on our Steelers feed on DKPittsburghSports.com. Steeler Girl asked Chris, how's DJ? Deontay, according to what I said this earlier in the show, but I know people filter in as the show goes on, so I have no problem saying it again. Deontay told DK earlier today, or after practice, that he was a full participant in practice, and actually with the injury report, did not carry an injury designation. So that's really that's obviously a huge thing, especially whenever he was a kind of an out of nowhere, did not practice on Thursday. Full participant today, doesn't have an injury designation going into the game. That's obviously really good news. So that means everybody else who is on the injury report, that is Deontay, Anthony McFarland, Cole Holcomb, Nate Herbig, TJ Watt, which TJ popping up today, limited participant with the heel thing. That's probably just kind of, we're just going to take it easy with them. Cam Hayward and Larry Ogunjobi, all those guys, no injury designation. So everybody else will be good to go. Monaga Halo Mike, you got to stop falling for those things on Twitter, man. Saw on Twitter the Paxter team was at the airport. Listen, there is a picture that gets constantly tweeted out of somebody with long dreads standing at a Hertz thing in the airport. If you look in the background, it says Hertz Boston. It is constantly used as a meme of being like, hey, this guy's at the airport. I wonder if a trade's going down. Yeah, it's just people trying to get you, and you got. So, if there's a trade in the works, it's not because of that tweet. I'll tell you that. Yeah, I'm just double checking here because now you got my interest peaked just a little bit, to do my due diligence. Yeah, nothing from Rappaport or Schefter or anything like that. So, Robert says, is Matt Canada on the Steelers inactive list? No, he is not. I will say this though. I saw on the Pat McAfee show earlier today, they're in Utah, and there was a loud Fire Canada chant going on in Utah. Listen, I am very critical of Matt Canada's offense. Somebody mentioned it here earlier today. I put it in the Steelers feed. JT O'Sullivan's QB School on YouTube does great work across the league of evaluating offenses and quarterback play and stuff like that. He did an evaluation. It's 40 minutes long, but it is worth every second of your time. He did an evaluation on Kenny Pickett's play in week 7 over the Rams, and shows a lot of the same issues that I have with Matt Canada's offense. There are issues with Kenny Pickett. There are issues with Matt Canada. I am very critical of Matt Canada, but these chants are kind of getting ridiculous. They just are. I mean, at the end of the day, man, the guy is doing the best he can at his job. It doesn't mean that we should just lay off and not be critical at all. Absolutely be critical. It comes with the territory. You're the offensive coordinator of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Your offense is consistently bad. They haven't ever put up 400 yards in a game. They're second to last in the NFL in points per game right now. They're not great. They're not a good offense. They need to have a different offensive coordinator. The fact of the matter is that how would you feel if somebody came to your job and chanted that you should be fired, even though you're trying your hardest, even if you sucked at your job? I feel like it's like a pound of salt on the wound. I just don't feel like it's necessary. But I'm not coming at this from a diehard fan perspective. I have a different perspective. I used to be a diehard sports fan. Then I became a sports journalist, completely changed my outlook on sports, on everything when it comes to being a sports fan. Everything becomes humanized. I've seen these people for who they are when they're not doing their job. Whenever I've had, plenty of conversations with people, whenever that have nothing to do with their job, whether it be on a football field or on a baseball diamond or whatever. I've seen how the sausage is made when it comes to sports and everything like that. So I've seen these people for who they are as a person, not for who they are as a player or as a coach or as an executive or whatever it is. And so I hear those chants after a while, and especially being that loud with vitriol. It's just wow, I don't get it. All right, I'm done. I'm off my soapbox now. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, not RoboCop. You almost got me. I thought you were RoboCop for a second, man. He said, not mad at Canada fan, but the chance heckling have almost got me rooting for him. Almost. It's just it was a couple of things that have kind of, I remember it was a couple of weeks ago, he took a question about, I really try not to take shots at anybody else who's asking questions, because I've been in those scrums. I've asked questions in those scrums. I've asked my stinkers. Every journalist has. Every journalist asks bad questions. You never bat 1,000. You just never do. But when you're in the middle of a scrum and it gets to the point of asking Matt Canada of hey, this one account that everybody thinks is your burner account, is that really your burner account? It's okay, we're getting to a level that's getting ridiculous now. It's getting to a bad. And then whenever you see his let's go, after they scored, I said this earlier on the show, you almost saw some pain being let out for that, because it wasn't just an excited let's go. I almost saw this face of being thank God, this, I drew up something and it worked in the red zone. Bada bing, bada boom, looked great. Why can't we do this all the time? It just, there was, if they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, that GIF or that little 2-second clip was worth, I could write 10,000 words on just that little bit, which I'm pretty much saying those words right now. Brent says, hit the like, guys. Only 32, so fat. No, I know you mean to say so far. Brent says far. I just couldn't help myself with the so fat. Yeah, guys, smash the like button. Appreciate it, guys. Appreciate all of your contributions for sure. AJ Dub asks, do you think the Jags inside linebackers have a similar style to anyone we faced so far? Think Canada's seen familiar defense during his tenure. Is Pierre easily replaced for special teams? Kind of. I gotta answer those quickly. Inside linebacker, honestly, with the way he's playing, more like Fred Warner, like kind of what they saw week one. Dude's all over the place. He's racking up, 81 tackles already in 7 games. That's 11 and a half sacks a game, or 11 and a half tackles a game. That's ridiculous. He's just all over the field. 5 passes defensed, interception, which was a pick 6. Fred Warner, like that type right now. Similar defense. Every defense is kind of their own. There are obviously like the similar types, but it's kind of hard to kind of come up with that one on the spot without really kind of, looking further and kind of seeing like what I might see right off. I don't have anything off the top of my head. I'll put it that way. And is Pierre easy to replace on special teams? I won't say easily replaced, but I think anybody who's like a special teams player, there's another guy who can step up. Barku would be one of those guys for sure. There are definitely guys who can step up. I wouldn't say easily replaced. Pierre is a pretty good special teams player. So, yeah. So, Bob asks, is there an OC or DC candidate that you would like to see hired next year? I haven't, honestly. So much of my focus goes on what's going on now more than what's going to happen in the future. So in terms of a list of names, I can't give you one right now, unfortunately. I'd love to kind of give you a name. I haven't really sat down and tried to think of like, okay, this is who, because so much of my time is spent trying to break down what's going on with this offense so that everybody can try to understand, because when everybody wants to get mad at only Matt Canada, I have to be like, okay, well, Kenny's also still doing this stuff that's not great either. So even when Matt Canada actually does draw up something good, it's not great because Kenny didn't execute it right, or Kenny can't do this because Matt Canada called a good play and Kenny can't execute it because there's no pass protection. It's always something disjointed with this offense. So yeah, I don't have a list of names, unfortunately. I won't have one until after the season's over, probably, just because so much of my focus is going on what's going on with this offense to try to figure out, okay, where are they going? Are they actually on the rise here? Yeah. Rick asks, who's my X factor for this week? X factor. On the Steelers side of it, I would probably say I'd probably have to go with just the running game. I don't know if I go with one player. If the Steelers can run the ball on this defense, they should win the ball game for sure, 100%. Because if they can run the ball, the Jaguars are giving up the second most passing yards per game. They're also taking the ball away more than any other team, but they're giving up a lot of passing yards. They're shutting down the run. If the Steelers can find a way to get the running game going against this defense, it should be a win. 100%. That would be my X factor. Anthony, my prediction, it's coming. Don't worry. I got it. It's coming at the end of the show. Dang, it's already 2:24, 3:24 Eastern. Let's see. I want to make sure I try to get will McFarland get a hat this week? Well, he doesn't carry an injury designation. Now, granted, he has to be activated from IR, which would be tomorrow. There's a deadline that happens on Saturdays where if they're not activated by a certain point, then he wouldn't be able to play. So it's looking better for sure. And so if McFarland gets a hat, I would assume that he steps in as the kick returner. And obviously the third running back on the depth chart. So, yeah, I would think it's trending in that direction, but without actually being on the South Side and knowing for sure, like actually talking to people there, I can't give you a definitive answer. But from seeing what I'm seeing from afar, yeah, I do think it looks like he is. Let's see. Tyler asks, is this the week Deontay Johnson finally finds the end zone and ends the streak? Dude deserves it. I don't know if this is the week, but yes, he deserves it. He absolutely breathed a little bit of life, a new, or I should say new life into this passing attack last week. Opened things up more for George Pickens. The tape really does show that. I kind of question what the Rams were doing defensively with some things, showing too high shell and still not doubling George Pickens. Why they weren't doing that, I have no idea. But Deontay's route running and getting open was on full display. He absolutely deserves it for sure. Darren asks, who has responsibilities for keeping Trevor Lawrence from huge running yards? That would probably be the off-ball linebackers. Those are usually the spies for the quarterback whenever there is a spy. It can also be like on a particular like odd package, like maybe you have an edge rusher who might be blitzing, but it's one of those situations where, okay, they know they're not going to get home in a certain amount of time, so they'll just peel off. But yeah, Rick says Quan for sure. Yeah, it's usually going to be an off-ball linebacker. Whether that's Cole Holcomb or Quan Alexander or Landon Roberts, whoever it is, it'll be most of the time it'll be one of those guys. Steelers girl asks, did you hear of any trade moves? No, I haven't really. The transition to trade rumors will most likely come after this game, after a Sunday. That's when the trade rumors are, because I believe the deadline is Tuesday. So that's when the trade rumors are really, really going to take off. They're already kind of going anyway. I've seen the stuff with DeAndre Hopkins. I've seen the stuff with Pat Surtain and all the stuff, but, I haven't heard anything. I'm when it comes to like close to the team, I'm not there talking with them every single day. I'm not the reporter anymore. So hearing that from the inside, I haven't heard anything. William says, you're doing a great job. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Let's see. Let's get a like 2 or 3 more, and then I'll give my prediction and we'll close things up. Randy says, Chris, I have the feeling that our offensive line is solidifying. Do you have the same feeling? Yeah, I do. What I saw in the second half was really encouraging for the offensive line. The run blocking, like especially, there's still some issues with pass protection. But I don't think this offensive line was ever going to be phenomenal at pass protection as long as they were good enough. But overall, it was the best cohesive performance that they've had all season. And that's while facing, obviously Aaron Donald is there. Like, they have a dude up front, so that's, and they're going to have another dude up front, possibly a couple of them with this Jaguars defense. So another really good test. But I do think that you're going to see improvement over the course of the season, just like we saw last year. I do. I really do think that. If it doesn't happen, then I'm gonna have to try to figure out why, because they should be continuously getting better. Oh, let's see. I know we've got a couple more in here. Here we go. Here's a good one. Steelers freak. Primetime wasn't known for tackling. If Porter plays like him, does tackling matter? 100% yes, it matters. Tackling matters. Unless he is intercepting the ball pretty much once a game, he's got to be able to tackle. Because, we're even seeing missed tackles against receivers. And I don't know. I'm just, call me old school, but I'm a firm believer that everybody who plays defense has to be able to tackle. I don't care if you're the nose tackle, if you're a linebacker, if you're an edge rusher, if you're a safety or a corner, you have to be able to tackle. If you can't tackle, you don't need to be playing defense. Deion Sanders was literally one of a kind, and trying to compare Joey Porter Jr. to a one-of-a-kind player. I mean, we're talking about a multi-sport athlete, like somebody who is really, really great at multiple sports. He literally is a one-of-a-kind. I don't think it's fair to compare Joey Porter Jr., especially like when you consider the AJ Dub. Thank you for coming in with 5 gifted memberships. Appreciate it. I think tackling, got to tackle, especially in this division for sure. All right, Anthony, I'll get to it. It is now 2:30. I'll get to it. Prediction time. I actually wrote it down. I don't know off the top of my head. So I don't like this matchup for the Steelers. I just don't. The Steelers need to be able to run the ball in order to really become an offense that can move the ball down the field. If they have to rely on, if they become one-dimensional and that's all through the air, I don't like it. I don't like it. Even though this Jaguars defense is giving up a lot of yards, they're taking the ball away. I mean, 9 picks in 7 games is no joke. They're taking the ball away a lot. When you're putting the ball in the air that much with an offense that is still a little suspect with their pass protection, with a quarterback who, isn't, he is getting better, but he's still got some issues. He will have people in his face. The Jaguars are really, really good when it comes to getting, or at least hurrying the quarterback. They're not great at getting to the quarterback and actually getting sacks, only 13 sacks. And Josh Allen has 7 of them. But they hurry the quarterback at a high percentage. I don't like the matchup. I don't. I think this offense is going to struggle. I think they can put up some points. They might have a couple. They might have a long touchdown, maybe even 2. But overall, I feel like the Steelers are going to have to become one-dimensional. And while it could produce some points, I have a feeling it's also going to come with a couple of costly turnovers. That being said, I am actually picking the Jaguars to win this 23-20. I think the Steelers can win this game. I really do. I don't think that this is some sort of juggernaut that the Steelers can't handle. They are playing at home. And Mark, I mean, if you also want to throw history in there, we've had problems with Jacksonville since they were an expansion team. I mean, it's true. I mean, the Steelers have struggled with Jacksonville over the years. But overall, yeah, I don't like this matchup for the Steelers. I don't. I feel like they're going to have to become one-dimensional on offense, and that's not good for the way this offense is built. They have to be able to run the ball. When they were playing really, really well in the fourth quarter or in the second half last week, it's because they were also running the ball effectively. They were able to be two-dimensional. Play action then worked off of it. They had some really great plays because of it. Yeah, I just don't like this matchup. I don't. I think it's going to be a good matchup to watch, but I'm saying for the Steelers, I think it's going to be really, really difficult for them. So that's it. Football Friday. Everybody have a great weekend. Try to stay safe for sure. Enjoy the game. If you're going to the game, be loud, be proud, wave your little yellow towels. Yeah, everybody have a great weekend. I appreciate you guys tuning in for throwing me all your questions. If I didn't get to yours, I'm sorry. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, for all your support. Thank you guys so much. Have a great one.